Hey writers, I'm back and we're going to talk about creating compelling characters this week. You need to know your characters as well as you know yourself, maybe even better. And if you're writing fiction, this is easy because you get to assign traits and qualities and make things up so that you can know your characters intimately and well. You can get in their heads, you really get to know them. When you're writing memoir or nonfiction, that's a lot harder. I'm just going to be honest. You may have lived the experiences, you may know the people in real time, but you can never get in the head of another human. And so that can make looking at your characters a bit difficult when you're writing about real people. Still, you have to think about what makes them tick, what they're afraid of, what you know about them. There may be more research involved in creating characters in a nonfiction work. So I'm just going to go over a little bit of what's in wet ink to give you a little bit more depth. And so now I will go back to sharing my screen and we'll take a look at the PowerPoint, which again is pretty much repeating what you are going to see when you are in wet ink, but I want to go a little bit into depth for you here. So when we're creating compelling characters, we have to know them well, as I said. And so you have to think not only about, what do they look like? Where do they live? Who are they connected to? Do they have interesting quirks or hobbies or, what is their background? But you need to know their motivation and why they do what they do. And so this is where you really have to do the hard work. When I am plotting out a novel, I plot it using the beat sheet, and then I create character sketches, pretty in depth. I go through all the basics that I just mentioned, and then I go even deeper, trying to figure out reasons for why they're going to do what they're going to do. Some of it I can't know at the beginning. I have to come up with it as I go through the book, and even when I'm reading that first rough draft and making notes. But you want to offer the kind of depth that makes your reader come to your character come to life. Um, with nonfiction characters, obviously that's a lot harder, but you can dig and you can do research. If they're no longer alive, you have a little more flexibility because you can embellish and you can maybe fictionalize ancestral stories, and that can be a lot of fun. Sort of guessing why they did what they did or how they ended up where they did. Um, the other thing is you must know more about your characters than your reader is ever going to see. You have to know that so you can write them in a believable way. So make sure that you have a picture in your head of each character, what they contribute to the story, and why they're doing what they're doing. There are some general tips for when you're trying to create characters, and I say look no further than yourself. If you have interests, hobbies, experiences, weave them into your storytelling. I love to swim. One of my characters is a swimmer. I love to hike. That shows up a lot in my books. I have a huge, love of nature. I'm working on a novel right now where the main character just loves putting her hands in the dirt and growing things, and that's something I love to do. So I really wanted to create a novel where the main character is processing grief through the garden, and that sort of was my motivating factor for this novel. You reveal the physical world through details, and I teach a great class called Demystifying Show Don't Tell. You're welcome to take it next year. But the details really make everything come alive, and so you want to think about what the air smells like or tastes like. What is the weather doing? What is the furniture like? The way the shadows angle because of the late day light or things like that. And what you choose to show on the page and what you choose to leave out equally say a lot. So just think about less is more. I like the rule of threes when it comes to details in a sentence. No more than three, because the reader has a hard time focusing on any more than that. Make your characters admirable, strong, talented. When they're buffooned, when they're like clowns and they are dorky, I mean, that's okay. But when they're sort of outlandish or doing things that are extreme, exaggerated, readers get annoyed. So make them relatable, make them, human. Your good characters should have bad qualities. Your bad characters should have good qualities. The best successful stories are where characters on both sides of the good-bad continuum can be relatable. where you can get in the shoes of an axe murderer, or you can not like the prom queen, whatever it is. You also want to show that inner turmoil, and in fiction, you have the ability to get inside someone's head. In a memoir, you can do the same, but you know that you're probably not 100% accurate when you do that, because again, you're never in somebody else's head unless you've interviewed them and they've told you these things. But show their vulnerability, show a character's hesitation, their fears. And just when the reader thinks the story's going a certain way, shake it up, mix it up, make it different. So when I read a book and I say, oh, I bet this is the bad guy, and they turn out to be the bad guy, I'm not surprised. And if I can guess it early on in the book, it makes it not as fun. So keep your readers guessing. In the online classroom in Wet Ink, there are some resources that'll help you. One of them is the character development questionnaire. You can use that for all of your characters. And I think you should go deep. So see what you can do and have fun with it. And you know where to find me if you have questions. So thanks, you guys. I really appreciate this, and I hope it was useful. All right, see you soon.